Hi there, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. Let's see. We're going to see if we have... Yes, we do have some viewers on. Okay. So, today I'm so excited. We're interviewing... I say we, like I have multiple people in the room with me, but it's just me. I'm interviewing... Jen Armstrong, who is the founder and owner of SolidRoots. It's a gaming company, and we love it, and we're so excited for it, and can't wait for it to continue to blossom and grow. We'll talk about all those things. But I also wanted to mention next Tuesday, we also have the owner and founder of Dog is Good. She's also one of our newer lines, awesome dog and pet lover line, and she's just super motivational and you know, a great person to vibe off of. So we have her coming next Tuesday, same place, same time. And also on our private Facebook group, if you haven't joined that, you need to join that. On our private Facebook group, we are doing unboxing of product, new product launches and things like that. We've got product rolling in, especially over the next couple months as companies are starting to do their new launches for the second half of the year. And we are doing our next unboxing it's Tuesday, this Sunday. So the next coming up Sunday at 7 p.m. Central. So yeah, join us for that on our private Facebook group. And yeah, from there, we're going to launch into this thing. All right. Hi, Jen. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. If anybody that is watching in the comments or anything, if you guys ever have a hard time hearing us or if there seems to be some tech glitches, please don't hesitate to let us know, and I can possibly make some adjustments as we go. So this is Jen Armstrong. She is the founder of SolidRoots, and thank you so much for coming on and giving us a chance to learn more about you and your company and where you guys are going and how life has been through all of this, all those things.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm really excited. And just a heads up for everybody, I'm drinking multiple things. So if you're confused because I have a different cup, I have to be surrounded by multiple things to drink at all times. So I have coffee and water. If anybody's
wondering, they're coffee and water.
I'll just drink a lot during this.
We think they're coffee and water. Are they really?
They're coffee and water. I promise.
I know. I just refilled my. I don't even know how many cups of coffee yet today. But
I was on a call with someone the other day, and they stopped, and then they're like, "Are you drinking out of 3 different cups?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Normal thing."
So I want to hear first about your background and tell us about what did you do before SolidRoots, and let's start there. What did you do before SolidRoots?
So my background is actually in production and event planning, and I've done that in a lot of different contexts. The main context, which might sound weird to some people, is churches. I worked for churches for a really long time, producing Sunday services, and I've done that for churches that were really small and some that had 50,000 people. And so I think my talent has been creating experiences for people. So I've done a lot of community events and nonprofit fundraisers and churches and benefits, all kinds of stuff like that. I geek out on figuring out how to get people together in a room and make them feel something or make them think about something in a way that they hadn't thought of it before, and genuinely have them walk away going wow, that was an amazing experience. So I did that for 15 years. And my degree is actually, I have a film degree in screenwriting. So I think I'm a natural storyteller, and I've done that through just different media and platforms for a long time. That's what I've done my whole adult life. My husband has been he's a self-taught graphic designer and web developer, and we've helped during the course of our marriage. I think we counted up one time. We've helped launch like 50 different small businesses for our friends and nonprofits and stuff like that. So that's my background, is event planning and production and creating moments.
I'm gonna have to. I'm already like, my brain is like squirrel, because I'm already thinking of all the side conversations I feel like I want to have with you from my background and being around filming all of that. So I'm like, okay, no, Camille, stay focused.
My parents were big Disney fans, and growing up, that was the only vacation we ever took. We just went to Disney World over and over and over and over again. At which, at the time, I was like, I would like to see the Grand Canyon. I would like to go. It's like, but my dad was real fascinated with how Disney could make grown adults like stand in front of a fake castle and cry when a mouse comes out. He's like, how do they do that? Like, what is the magic going on here? And so he was very focused on, so I've always thought about that in like what goes into making an experience, you know, so captivating. And then I've tried to do that in whatever job that I've had over the years. Like, how do we take this moment and make it memorable and amazing? What does it smell like? What does it look like? What does it sound like? What does it feel like?
Very cool.
Yeah, I'm fascinated by that.
So how did you guys start getting into creating games?
Crazy. So about 4 years ago, I have 2 kids. I have a daughter that is now about to turn 15 in a couple of weeks, and my son is 11. And 4 years ago, they asked me to homeschool them, which was not in the cards. I'm not a homeschool mom. I'm horrible at math. Like, there's just nothing in me that is homeschool teachery, but that's what they really wanted. And honestly, like, it was something they needed, you know? And so I quit my job and started staying home with them. And I thought, I'm going to go crazy. Like, I don't know how to do this. And so I thought, we need a project. Like, what if I get to teach them whatever I want to teach them? What do I want to teach them, right? And so I had an idea for probably 10 years to make a game out of the annual Christmas gift exchange game that everybody plays every year, White Elephant. And for years, I just kept saying, somebody needs to make this easier, because as the event planner, I was always the one planning this for my family and my work and everything. And it's a complicated thing. So I'm like, someone's going to put this in a box. So we were like, let's figure out how to turn one of our ideas into a physical product, and the kids will get to, you know, learn this process or whatever. And so that's literally how this happened. Was like, I don't have anything to do. I need some creative outlet. I have to teach my kids something valuable. And frankly, I was tired. It frustrated me to be the kind of person that would have an idea and not act on it. But of course, you know, I think the reason most people don't act on things because they think, I don't know how to do it. Like, what are you supposed to do? What's the first step? So that's what we did. We sat down, we tackled it, and we're like, okay, how would we even start this? And that's where it all started. We just sat down with the kids and figured out how to turn the idea into something physical.
So you went to a craft store and you basically, from my understanding, is you like printed out graphics and made cutouts, and
it was so ugly. I'll send you a picture of it. Yes, I'm not a crafter either. I'm horrible at stuff like that. But we went to Hobby Lobby and got little wooden pieces and painted them, and, you know, took an old game and recovered the box and covered the board and turned it into, you know, this really rough thing. But once we had something that we could hold in our hands, even though it was so ugly, that was so motivating. It was almost like, there was like a high associated with it. It was like, look what we did. Like this was in our brain and now we're holding it. And so then it was like, now what do we do? And we just kept Googling and learning and reading and listening and figuring out, like, what is the next step? What is the next step? What is the next step? And all of a sudden we
So when you first were like, we're going to do this project because I need something to entertain my kids and teach my kids, which I totally understand because all of a sudden having my kids home, I was like, what do I do with you? When you were like, we're going to do this craft project and come up with this idea, did you have the thought process then that you were going to actually launch it into a product and like find a manufacturer and like turn this into a company line? Or were you just like, this is a craft that we're going to do with our kids?
I didn't have in mind that we were going to have a whole line, but I've always been a big thinker, and so I always go into everything thinking that it's going to be successful, it's going to be amazing, because I think that it's real important how you think about stuff, right? And so I did think, I went into it and I'm like, I know people play this, I know that it is a helpful product, I know that it's fun, I know we can make it great. And so, we got the kids pumped up and we're like, we're going to make this, and like, if we're going to do it, let's do it.
Wow,
so
awesome.
We had some intention behind it. I don't think that we had a clue about the scope of where that would take us. But we did it with the intention to be successful and to sell it and to make it something that people would like.
So I don't have the original picture of your original version, but I do have this one here for you. This is, but you guys can't see it because it's reading backwards, right? Yeah, sorry guys. But it's so cool and so much fun. I know the majority of the country refers to the game as White Elephant. However, there are sections of the country that don't, including your own, right?
Right. Yes, my family calls it Dirty Santa. So in the South, we call it Dirty Santa. And we always get some weird looks, but I'm like, no. So the reason it's called Dirty Santa is because a white elephant gift is traditionally like a terrible gift, right? Like you're re-gifting something super ugly or like you get stuck with it. Dirty Santa gifts are sort of a mix of really great gifts and bad gifts. And so the focus is on stealing. So everybody's like, you bring gifts that get stolen a lot because they're awesome, right? So Dirty Santa is focused on stealing. And then the third most popular title for that game is Yankee Swap, and that's real popular up in the Northeast. So White Elephant is all over the country. Dirty Santa is like Oklahoma, Texas, and south to Florida, like all of those states. And then up in the Northeast, like New York and Pennsylvania, they call it Yankee Swap, and they focus their gifts on being very utilitarian, like they're useful gifts. Those very savvy Northeasterners. So they call it Yankee Swap. It's the same exact game, and all our product does is organizes the party for you. So it even comes where you can go in and download custom invitations. It has the numbered pieces, so you're not tearing up pieces of paper. It has the official rules because our family fights over the rules every single year. It has variations of ways that you can play. We made up 2 new ways. It's just really fun, and I think we just wanted to tap into a fun Christmas tradition that sometimes people are just like, oh, like it's like the Office White Elephant Party, and make it funny and tolerable and fun and easier for the person organizing it. So
I know last Christmas I went to a neighborhood party. We just moved into this neighborhood, so we didn't know anybody. But this was apparently their thing. And she gets really into it, this whole white elephant thing. But there was a big discussion about the rules, and people kept being like, "No, that's not the rule. It's this way." And everybody was losing track of their numbers and all those things. So it was. And then I was like, I heard about this. I was like, I need that. And actually, I was just walking down the street a couple weeks ago, and I told her, I was like, Melanie, I have this game. We're going to make everything so much less complicated.
If you think about it, like there just aren't a lot of games where you play with 30 or more people.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people to get on board and, like, whatever. It's not like it's this huge problem where every year people are like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do about the wet? It's not like that. It's just like, we just really it's our family's favorite tradition, and I think a lot of other people really enjoy it every year too, and so we just wanted to, like, boost it up a little bit and elevate the tradition.
See if I can. I think I just changed this. I should. No. Oh, is it working? Now it's working.
Yeah.
No, it's still backwards, I think. Dang it! I tried to move it.
It's right ways to me, but maybe my screen is.
Anyway, so there's White Elephant, Yankee Swap right here, and Dirty Santa. So it's awesome. I love the packaging. I know we did an unboxing not that long ago, and I was saying your packaging is so quality packaging. So it's, from somebody that looks at product and everything and judges, and Judgy McJudgerson over all the product. It's really great to be like, this is quality packaging. It's, something that, is going to last more than the one-time use or, that year.
That's been something that's been very important to us, because as a mom, so many times you buy stuff and it like makes you feel sick almost, because you're like, this is junk, and we want for our products to be quality, and because we want people to play them for a long time, and
But I will say, just quality does not, their pricing is still super on point. So don't misconstrue that because it's higher quality packaging or anything that it means like, oh, it's a more expensive game. It's totally not. It's right on price, or right on point, if not under point, actually. So side note about that. So you took this game because it was your family, your family tradition. Mm-hmm. You guys super value family, and how did you then go from having this game made, and then how did you find a manufacturer and go into production?
That is, that was really difficult. And it's because there's just not a lot of information out there on this process. And that kept us, in one place for a really long time, because it was like, I just don't know how do you manufacture this? What do I say? And so it was a matter of just getting to that point where it was like, okay, let's just Google this, literally typing in, how do you manufacture a product, or board game manufacturers. And then I just started calling people, and my whole strategy was just be really honest on the phone and say, hey, I have no idea what I'm doing. I have never done this before. We have an idea for a product. We made a prototype. What do I do? And one thing we've been consistently experiencing in the entire industry is how helpful people are when you just are asking honest questions, and when you ask for help, people are super helpful. And so they would guide us through that process, and it's literally as easy as you make your rough prototype and send them pictures and measure your pieces, and then they really help you do the rest. And so we were lucky to connect to some great manufacturers that cared about us and cared about our product and walked us through the steps. And we just figured out one thing at a time. So it was like, okay, now we've made it, now we've manufactured it. Now if our intention is to sell it to retail, what does the rest of that process look like? And so we figured out warehousing and domestic distribution and shipping and order taking and all of these things, so that by the time we got to the buyer, and I think part of what was helpful in involving the kids in this process was that because it was sort of this educational endeavor where we're really trying to wrap our minds around the process, by the time we got to a buyer, we had a really great distribution plan, right? So we had figured out all of the steps in between. So when we got to buyers, it wasn't like we had a product, but we were like, here's our product, but here's our manufacturing capabilities, here's where our warehouse is, we have this kind of distribution, here's how we're going to support the product for you, blah, blah, blah. And I think that helped us by building our infrastructure on the front end instead of on the back end. It made us look more legit to buyers. They trusted us. They knew we were going to be able to deliver them. And we had success much earlier than we would have had we not spent the time educating ourselves about what it meant to manufacture new products.
Right. Wow.
So
you launched White Elephant.
Yes.
And the others.
Yes.
And then from there, you've continued to come out with other product launches. So your next one, what was your next one?
Our next product was Momo Shanghai Rummy. So you mentioned, so the Christmas games were birthed out of a family tradition that we had. And when we made the game, there's a lot of sort of Easter eggs in the game where if we talk about how your Aunt Patty cheats, like I have an Aunt Patty that we make fun of for cheating. So we pepper in a little bit of our family's personality into each of our games. So when those were so successful, we realized now we know the process, we have an infrastructure, we have a network of buyers now. It only makes sense for us to continue to make products now to sell to them. And so in keeping with the vein of being inspired by stuff that my insane family does, we had a favorite card game that my great-grandmother, sort of tweaked years ago. Shanghai Rummy is obviously an actual game, but she used a ton of jokers, and black twos were wild, and you could buy and steal cards from each other, and her version gets very physical and loud and funny, and so we're like, let's share this. Like, this is our family's favorite card game. So we packaged it in her cigarette purse from like the 70s. She was never seen without it. Yep, that's it. So like everyone had like a mom or an aunt or a grandma that had one of these purses back then, right? And we're like, yeah, the cards literally couldn't come in anything else. That's what it had to be. That was what the packaging had to be. So that's sort of paying homage to my great-grandmother who started the love of playing games in our family. She was really tough and really strict and really cranky all the time, but she loved to play games. And when we were little, even, like, we always had to play for a quarter, and she would, like, take our money. And it was like, you had to sit up straight, you had to hold your cards in your hand, you couldn't, you had to act like an adult if you were going to play cards with the adult, and I'd be like 4 years old playing for a quarter, all serious, whatever. But so our family is super competitive because she does ingrain that into us. Like,
that's awesome. Well, I know before we jumped on this live interview, the two of us were laughing about our loud Italian families.
Yes.
And the fact of, we get very into it and emotional and arms start flying and,
all the time.
Yes, all the time. And,
all the time.
But, we're just a passionate bunch. That's all.
It's very passionate. And everyone is always, whenever someone's like bringing their new, boyfriend or girlfriend into the family, there's like a big disclosure at the beginning, like, listen, this is going to be crazy.
I'm ready for this.
Don't judge me. Everything's cool. But it's fun. We have a ton of fun. But we are loud and we are competitive. So.
But it clearly birthed some great,
right?
Greatness.
Right? It pays off. It pays off.
Yeah, and everybody, as Jill is now jumping on this and saying it reminds you of your grandma. It's true. Everybody has at least somebody in your family, even if it's not necessarily your grandma, your aunt, or, like you were saying, that or a close family friend or something that you instantly think of, for these things. And you're like, great, warm, but hilarious memories.
And that's what we wanted it to be a throwback to playing cards at the kitchen table with your grandma. Yeah. We wanted it to have that feel of nostalgia, but it's also really fun. So.
A part of me kind of thinks that I'm going to be that grandma. Because I'm
I hope you are.
With my kids, I'm already like, no, you play with real money. You earn
check.
your money, and
there's
then
no
you
crying
use
in
it.
sugar.
That's right. There's no crying in baseball. Yeah, exactly. So I will probably be that grandma that people will then, talk about. But that's okay. I look forward to that moment actually in my life.
Yeah.
So Momo's is awesome. Everybody loves it.
Yes.
And then and it's great too because it's different types of games too. And then you are now close to launching your newest game, Mind the Gap. So then tell us a little bit about Mind the Gap.
Yeah, so, okay, I'll go back to my family one more time so people don't get bored of this, but my grandparents are in their 80s, and our parents are in their 60s, and I'm 29, just kidding. But we have, and I have 14-year-olds. We have all these generations in our family, and everyone is like really engaged. And whenever we get together, we like to play games together. And so we wanted to create something that was just as much fun for my 85-year-old grandma as it was for my 14-year-old daughter and everyone in between. And we came up with this idea of generational trivia. I know, Trivial Pursuit is like one of the hardest games ever, and you just feel so dumb every time you play because you're like, wow, like I really don't know anything. And then there's always one or two people that are just dominating, right, because they are the Jeopardy stars or whatever. And no disrespect to Trivial Pursuit, this is an incredible, incredible game. But we thought, what if there was a trivia game that was all based on pop culture, things that you love to remember, things that only the kids that were growing up in that specific time would know, and what if we spanned it for the last 4 generations? So the boomer generation who, started being born in the 40s, all the way to Gen Z, which is the current generation, right? So kids that were born after, I think, 1997 or something like that. And so we came up with this game, and we called it Mind the Gap, as in the generation gap. And the idea is that as you go around the board, you spend time answering pop culture trivia from the boomer, Gen X, millennial, and Gen Z. And so in order to get all the way around the board successfully, you would need to work together with people outside of your own generation. And it really, that was our intention, just to have something that we could all engage with. But what ended up happening was I think it struck a chord with people because right now, and for the last couple of years, there's so much tension between the generations, right? So there's all this verbiage like calling people snowflakes or okay boomer. Exactly.
Karens.
Yeah, and people just really I think misunderstanding each other or not empathizing with where the other generation is coming from and realizing that everyone had these very different experiences and they're all valid and they're all valuable. And we believe, and we've always believed, that every generation has something to offer and every generation has something to learn. And so that really, I think, took the game in a new direction because now all of a sudden here's a product that is painting everyone in a positive light. It's not bad to be a boomer and it's not bad to be Gen Z, right? And you need both of them, and every generation gets to celebrate the best things about their culture and share that with their grandparents or their kids or their grandkids. And so I think that's what people are connecting to is the positivity behind it. And just the fact that it's something that brings people together instead of making them feel further apart.
Right. And obviously it's not like you guys, planned this launch.
Right.
We know what's going to happen in the world.
Right.
And, all of a sudden pandemic hit and, everybody needs that everybody values their family. I mean, I don't want to say more than ever, but I do kind of feel more than ever.
No,
and,
yeah.
You know,
you take it for granted.
Yeah, you know, everybody's like, oh, I want to spend as much time with my, you know, extended family as possible, with my extended friends as possible, and so yeah, it's like best timing, better than ever right now, because we all need this more than ever, even though we've already needed it. We really need it right now in our society and and families. So I love that this is available to us, and you know, to be able to spend time with family, even if it is virtual, because you guys have now also created a virtual version of this that you guys are doing, Mind the Gap Live.
Right. Yeah, so, you know, pandemic, wow, that, I keep saying, if this were a movie, I think I'd walk out of the theater because I would be like, this is ridiculous. That is like, that could never happen. And here we are, right? But yeah, so because of that, you know, there were all kinds of things going on with the supply chain, and so we didn't have physical product here yet because that was all backed up. And of course, we're not an essential, you know, product or anything like that. So we knew we weren't going to have our actual games here, but we felt like, what can we do as a company? What is it that we do that can help this situation? You know, we're not selling anything. We don't have anything to sell. So how can we help? And we're like, what we do is we create moments that bring people together and help them have fun. So how can we figure out how to do that? And so we work with a guy, his name is Steve Stravinsky, and he has a show called Kid at Heart, and we collaborated with him to create a platform where we could play Mind the Gap live on the internet from everyone's homes. So we gave families an opportunity to sign up to play with their families or even against their own family, right? And get grandma on and get your aunt on and your kid and your cousin and bring everybody together in a Zoom call and make it look fun. And then we just, you know, pivoted Mind the Gap a little bit to make it able to play online. And people loved it. And it was like, this is what we can do. We can help figure out how to get everybody feeling like we're together and having a moment. And it's fun. It's fun to play. It's fun to watch. And so that ended up taking off. And what was fun for us as the creators was to see what we had envisioned, how we envisioned the game being played, to watch other people play it and be like, oh, it's working. Because you have, you know, a couple of adults that are millennial and Gen X, and they're knowing quite a few, and the kids in the corner, and then it comes down to like the game-winning question, and the 12-year-old is the only one that knows the answer because it's a Gen Z question, and it's like, what is, you know, some slang word mean? And they're like, oh, it's da-da-da. And they win the game, you know, or grandma pipes in and she has the game-winning answer because she's the only one that remembers some actor's name, or so it's fun to see it working in motion. But it's also nice to just be able to contribute in some way. You know, you just feel helpless during times like this, and it's like, I'm not a nurse, I'm not, I don't feel like I can help, but here's what we can do. We can help people have fun. We can let you see your family members and play a game and feel like you're, you know, all so together.
Important. And I mean, and it's awesome that everyone now has figured out so much technology, you know, grandparents and, you know, everybody. So it was, it made it possible. And, you know, I mean, I know I personally am usually not a trivia person because I'm awful at it. And I'm the one at the table that sits there and I'm like, I don't know this one again. You know, like,
right.
Why am I here? I'm only here because I'm being social and trying to hang out with my friends or whatever. But,
exactly.
Yeah, but Mind the Gap, like, I was like, I know this one, you know, because they were things that I just genuinely, you know, were part of my life. And,
right.
And so I will admit that you got me hooked to somebody that was totally like, no, I am not a trivia person.
Yeah.
Totally bought in because
this is fun trivia. It's like the bands that were popular when you were in high school, and it's the commercials that were on TV, and the theme songs of the TV shows that you've listened to. Yeah, it's fun stuff to know the answers to. So.
Yeah, so I love it. And you guys are officially launching that in stores in just a couple weeks, right?
Yes, this June. So products start shipping the second week of June, and we are super excited. We have a ton of pre-orders. People are really pumped up about it, which makes us really excited.
Yeah, so Dirty Santa, Yankee Swap, and White Elephant are currently available. They're more Christmas geared, so
really Christmas centric.
Yeah, you'll see those probably closer to Christmas time in stores. Momo Shanghai Rummy, go to the store and get it like yesterday. And then keep an eye on stores for Mind the Gap because it's coming out very soon, and you're going to fall in love with it. It's so much fun to play. Even if you are not in a situation yet where you are seeing in person your friends and family, this is really a game that you can play on Zoom. Whether it's you partake in Mind the Gap's, legit version, or you just do a family Zoom call, it's something that you guys should really consider. And, so we're super excited that all these are coming out. And you guys...
Any family that wants to play, if you want to sign up with your coworkers or your friends or your family, you just go to mindthegapgame.com and you just fill out that form with your teammates, and we'll schedule you and we'll host a game for you totally free and just genuinely to connect you guys.
We'll make sure to put that link below, but also if you're on our Facebook page, I know we just did a post about that just the other day too, so you can find that on the Ann Sales Facebook page or Instagram page as well, and we'll put the direct link for that below. So you guys launched or brought this game for the first time, I believe, to the Toy Fair right before all of this crazy shutdown. I believe it was late February.
Yes, it was the last week of February.
Yeah, and so tell me about that, because my understanding is that you guys had quite, the response.
It was really incredible. For all intents and purposes, we're still a fairly small company, although in 2021 we'll be launching the full line. But at Toy Fair, we just came with the products we've talked about here, and it was Mind the Gap's first show, and I don't even really have words. It just got such an incredible response. We picked up distribution all over the world. In that one show, we got nothing but excitement and just people, like I said, I think that's where we noticed that people were connecting to something more than just the game. It wasn't the gameplay. It was the feeling that you get when you think about being able to share the things that are important to you and your culture, and also being able to experience that with the people that you love. And I think you did an unboxing of our box, but on the box there's the silhouette of a boomer and a Gen X and a millennial and a Gen Z. Yeah. And so I think there's something too about seeing yourself on the box and being like, oh, that's me. Or I get that, that's very exciting for people. And so we got so much love. We met so many incredible people, and the game literally exploded. We got some incredible compliments and some incredible PR. It was a really awesome experience.
Didn't you guys get up for 2020? I don't remember, a game of the year or toy of the year.
A lot of people are calling for it to be game of the year. And that was not us. That was just people putting that out there. Some really big companies up in Canada were calling it the Trivial Pursuit of the 21st century. I think it's I know it's going to be around for a long time, and it hopefully will just become a staple in the, in that category. And I think it's good. I think it deserves to be there because it, brings people together. So.
Yeah. And you guys are still at this point a family owned and operated business. Yep. You have your family involved. Your mom is involved, right?
Yeah.
And then your aunts and uncles.
So Chris and I. So excuse me. So my husband Chris, he designs all of our packaging. We work with both of our kids. They help us understand stuff like Snapchat and Instagram.
Have you guys done a TikTok yet? This is like my question for everybody. Have you done a TikTok?
So here's the thing. I have been threatened by my own children who are like, Mom, I swear if you get on TikTok, you will never get to see your grandchildren. I'm disowning you. And I'm like, I really want to be on TikTok, man, but right now they're not allowing me. But I think they're about to get overruled because I think we've got some fun stuff coming up with a Mind the Gap challenge on TikTok. So I don't know if I will get to be involved because I don't want to ruin my children's lives, but someone will be involved, and there will be a really fun Mind the Gap challenge on TikTok very soon. So both the kids are involved. They travel with us and help us with some fun stuff. And then we also work with my cousins, two of my cousins, and my mother-in-law she runs all of our distribution. And so it's a big family affair. And as we grow, we're just going to continue to.
We understand how that
expand.
Is. Yeah, at Ann Sales, we are a family, run business.
That's awesome.
Yeah. My mom started the company, Jean Claire, and she's our fearless leader, and my brother and my dad have been involved, and then we bring in all of our friends that are like family, and then our reps and our team just kind of become family. So we totally get that. There's something I don't know. There's something really cool about family business.
I agree, and I think yes, and that's what I was going to say. To that point, when we first started out, we realized that okay, this is legit, and we have to run this a certain way and all that. Because we wanted it to be a family business, we wrote out our family, like the 10 commandments of our family business. And before there were ever issues, we were like, these are the absolute non-negotiables of this family and this business, and we absolutely will not ever run it in any other way. And so we put that out there first before anything, and that's been sort of our guiding light because it's like, the family is the first thing, and the business is the second thing, right? And you have to keep it that way. So.
Yeah. Our family always has to come first, no matter what.
Yeah.
So, let's see what are we have to mention this.
Yes.
We talked about Mind the Gap Live, how you guys have been doing that, but you guys have something major coming up tomorrow.
Yeah. So every year St. Jude's does a huge benefit gala for their donors, their top donors, and normally I think it's like a big, fancy thing in New York, which obviously 2020 is canceled, and so they made a great pivot, and they're doing this whole week of hope, and they've turned it into an online thing. They reached out to us and asked if Mind the Gap Live would host a trivia night as part of their benefit. And so we were so excited to just be included in that and to have the opportunity to, obviously promote our game and our business, but also for just an amazing cause. And it's just such an honor to be included, and we're really looking forward to that's tomorrow night at 7:00. And I think all the tickets are sold out for that, which is great for them. But it's just an example of some of the awesome opportunities that have come to us from the huge buzz that the game is getting. So I think it's going to be a great night, and we're expecting to have a lot of fun.
We're very excited for you. Do you have any new things that you can talk about? Any teasers?
We do. I can tell you that we have like 12 new products coming out this August. They're all, in my opinion, super fun and amazing. I can tell you that our Momo line is expanding, and you'll be meeting some of our other grandmothers and their craziness as well. So we have our own little set of golden girls. So Momo's expanding. We've got a really cool game coming out that's sort of twist on Twister, sort of reimagining Twister for 2020, which is really great, and tying that into hot topics of the day. So that's a fun party game. We'll see. Oh man, it's gonna be awesome.
She's like, I can't say
it's
too
gonna
much.
be awesome. Like, I'm just looking over at we have an incredible line for kids coming out, for younger kids, that I'm super excited about, that really ties into our philosophy on like sort of the approach that we take with our kids in homeschool. Like, our focus is a lot more on creativity and expanding their thinking skills instead of telling them, what to think. So we have a whole product line for little kids that really centers in on like creative education.
I have 2 littles still, so
you will love it.
Awesome.
It's awesome.
Awesome.
So, great stuff coming out. Lots of new family games. I think we have something for every age group, and it's all really fun. I can't wait to show everybody.
You guys have been like nose to the grindstone.
Non-stop.
Yeah.
Non-stop. Yes. But all the time I'm like, do you remember the Tom Hanks movie Big?
Yeah.
Do you remember that movie?
Yes.
And he's like, he gets to go and like work at this toy company, and his job is to like play with the toys and whatever. And at least 2 or 3 times a week, we just look at each other and we're like, we're Tom Hanks in Big. Like, this is our job.
Yep.
Is to play and make games, and a Monday meeting could be just like play testing a new border card game, or just it's so fun. It's so fun. So it is a lot of hard work, but I always remind myself, like, this is a huge privilege, and it's very fun and exciting.
Very cool. I have lost my 3 questions that I always ask. Oh no, okay, I found them.
Okay, good.
So, but first, I do want to ask you specifically a question, because of this process that you've been through and everything. Are there any? What is the biggest tip or words of advice that you would give to somebody that was like, that is sitting here now, being like, I have this great idea, but I don't know what to do with it. It's too much work. I don't even know where to start. I don't have any connections. What's your biggest words of advice for somebody in that situation?
So, I listened to a lot of Tony Robbins, and one thing that I heard from him several years back that really stuck with me was a lot of times we get stuck because of all those things you just said, like, I don't know this, I don't have connections, I've never done this, blah, blah, blah. And it's all these, like, we list out all of the resources that we don't have, right? And if instead you could flip that into, have this really great idea, and then make a list of the resources that you do have, right? Like, you have an internet. If you don't have internet, you have a library that has internet and free books. There are social media sites like LinkedIn where, some of the best connections I've made have just been reaching out. Like, I will go straight to the top, on LinkedIn and send them a message. And when you're genuine and you ask a real question, I've never been turned down. Everyone I've tried to connect to has given. So it's like, I have access to anyone in the world through social media. Mm-hmm. I have access to a library, an internet where I can ask Google any question in the world. There's podcasts on this subject. And probably the biggest tip of all is, like, do something. Like, even if right now you're like, I don't know how to do this. If you had an idea for like a medical device or something that you feel like, how do I make that? Draw it. Call somebody. Google, how do you manufacture whatever this product is? And then just make the first call. Go to the craft store. Right. Draw it on a piece of paper. Write down the components. And as soon as you take one step, it'll give you the motivation to take the rest. And always look at it from the perspective of what you do have to work with and not the list of things you don't have. There's a great scene in Apollo 13 where, what was it, like the CO2 was building up or the whatever, and the guy comes in at NASA and he dumps everything on the table and he's like, we have to make this fit into this and we can only use this. That's life. Put everything on your table and be like, okay, I have to turn this into this and here's what I have to use and do it.
And now, our generation has so many more tools than Momo ever had.
Oh my gosh, there's no
excuse. We have the internet and all these social media sites and everything like that. So really, at our generation, our time, the world is at our fingertips. And
message me on Facebook. If you have I wouldn't care at all. I want to pay it forward. So many people have helped me with answers. I would say if you're stuck and you have an idea, send me a message and let's figure out what your next step is.
And I do love that statement. Do something.
Do something.
Do something.
Move the ball down the field. Just keep moving it down the field.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so we have come to the time of our final questions. I feel like I need some theme music. And yes, you're prepping with your coffee. We need some theme music to be now is the time for our final 3 questions.
Or the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
Yes, exactly.
The lights dim.
Exactly.
Okay, let's pretend like that just happened.
Right, there we go. Thank you. I'll get there eventually. This is number 3, guys.
Okay.
Watch out. I'll keep on, expanding on my abilities. So, question number 1. What is your favorite book, podcast, or blog?
My favorite book, the title sounds bad, but it is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And the reason that it is my favorite, I've read it probably 30 times, or listened to it 30 times. But it is really about your mindset. And, so much of life and the quality of your life is in your brain. It's in your perspective. It's in how you filter situations that happen to you and how you respond to them. And it's really about just, the book has 13 different steps, and a lot of them are stuff go the extra mile. You have to, work on yourself more than you work on your product. Be the kind of person that people want to do business with. Be honest. Be trustworthy. And think in the way that you think about what you're doing. It impacts your final results so much, So I can kind of geek out on that, but that's my favorite book.
Very cool. Yeah. What is the most important thing in your toolbox? So this can be a physical item or just a mental thought or, state of mind.
Okay, yeah, so I have a good mental trick. So it can, if I have a really important phone call and it's with a major company or it's something, and let's say you're gonna get on the phone with Walgreens or something like that, or just Disney, whatever. You can get this thing in your head where it's oh my gosh, this is a very important, this is Walgreens, this is Walmart, this is Disney, and you get freaked out because you feel like it's this huge thing. But in reality, you're talking to Stephanie, who, has a million things. She has a bunch of people she has to talk to today. She spilled her coffee on the way to work. Her house is a mess. She has to do laundry. She's going to her kid's baseball game tonight. You're not talking to the whole organization, or even in just, if I were to filter this as oh my gosh, I'm going to do a live interview on the internet or whatever. It's no, you're a person. And I think when you humanize the, situations that you go into, if it's an interview, if it's press, if it's a buyer, don't make a person be the organization. Like, treat people like you're just having a conversation, and then if that calms your nerves, you'll come across as more genuine, and that only good things happen, right? So that's how I always calm myself before any phone calls or meetings, is I remind myself, I'm talking to Debbie, and Debbie is just like me. Like, she's no different. This is her job, and it's cool, right? So that's probably my best mental tip.
That's true. That's a really good, one to keep in your back pocket.
Yeah.
All right. Our final question. This is something that's really important to us, regardless of the pandemic and everything. We always strive to look for the positive. I can tell that you are the same way. And we believe that there is always a good in a situation, or always someone doing good in every bad situation. So, with that said, what is something positive that you feel has come out of this COVID-19 situation?
Well, I think that is an easy question and a hard question combined, because I'm like overly empathetic, to where a lot of times situations like this can be really heavy for me, because it's hard to not focus on how many people have lost their jobs, or, we've known a couple of people that have lost relatives, that have actually died, from this. And so there's a heaviness in realizing that so many people and businesses have been really adversely affected, and how lonely a lot of people are. But obviously there's positives as well. And one is, I think, I don't know in my lifetime, I can only speak for my lifetime, but it wasn't just the United States, it was the whole world. And there was something about knowing that the whole planet was affected by something, and we were all together. And I love the memes that go around that say, we're all in the same storm, we're not all in the same boat, kind of a thing. But there was something about, like, the whole planet, knowing that we were all at home, keeping each other safe, and there was a connectivity there. And the other thing is, too, I think it's made us all appreciate the time that we do get to be with our family and friends. Because I don't know that we probably ever think about that. It's like, oh, of course we're going to go to grandma's house and play games for, Caroline's graduation, or, Eric's birthday, or whatever it is. It's like, and we can't. And it made me desperately want to go see my grandma. And we saw our family yesterday for one of my brother's birthdays, and it was like the best birthday we had ever had, right? Because it was like, we're together, and we, it's like the appreciation you have that maybe we didn't have before. Yeah. It was like, oh, it actually is important to see each other in person. And social media actually doesn't cut it. And Zoom doesn't cut it. It's a great tool, so thankful, but that isn't enough. And I don't know if I could have been convinced of that otherwise. I'm a pretty intense introvert. All four of us are. Both my kids are super introverted. We are we all go to our separate corners in the house, right? We all need alone time. And I was like, it's a problem when the introverts are like craving a party, right? So, I think it just gave us appreciation. It gave us something to connect to, and maybe some hope that, sometimes the whole world can come together to do a hard thing. And I don't know. It's horrible.
I definitely felt that too, though.
Amazing.
It's been fascinating. That's for sure. It's all been fascinating.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And we're happy that things are slowly, finding a new or a next normal, or all of those things.
Yeah.
So
I'm really happy for that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your time and for sharing so much with us, and the sneak peeks, which I'm super excited about. Now I'm going to be like, oh, I wonder what that is. But I won't bug you for more insight.
Behind the scenes.
Ooh,
I'll give you a little.
Okay, I like that.
heads up.
So thank you so much. I hope that you
Yep.
enjoy the rest of your day. And yeah, we will hear more from you down the road.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right. We'll talk soon.
Have a good day. Okay, bye.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching our interview. And if you have any questions or you want to contact us or Jen from SolidRoots, you can watch them. You can follow them on Facebook, on Instagram. Go to their website. Their Facebook is Make SolidRoots, and they're also on Instagram. And yeah, we are happy to connect to anybody. Or this is one of our new lines. We're so excited. So like we said, they're starting to ship any day. Get your orders in, and yeah, let us know if you have any other questions. Thanks so much. Have a great day.